Behind The Herald Headlines with Daron Mann.
Lead story in the Herald for today, Wednesday, the 19th of January 2022. Bay hits jobs jackpot at 73 billion rand plant. Planned green ammonia production at Khoi could kickstart economic recovery in the region. The site for the 73 billion rand ammonia plant inside Khoi's special industrial zone was unveiled yesterday with a promise of thousands of jobs for Nelson Mandela Bay residents. On completion, this will be the world's biggest green ammonia plant, churning out 780,000 tons a year. For more on this story and others, go to heraldlive.co.za.
Each one of us has a story to tell and a story to share. A story that deserves to be heard. A story that inspires, motivates, and gives people a reason to keep going. A story about our triumphs as individuals and as a team. A story about our humble beginnings and what the future holds for us. A story about our heritage and that which brings us together. It is these stories that connect us. The Herald. Whatever you live for, we live to tell that story for you.
Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann today, taking a look at a rather interesting story which you can find and follow on heraldlive.co.za as well. Khoi and San activist Christian Martin, well known, says he is upset over the South African National Blood Service's failure to offer donor forms making provision for Khoi and San people, despite repeatedly requesting it to do so. We will be catching up with Mr. Martin within the next little while, but first we thought comment would be in order from the South African National Blood Services themselves. We speak to the Eastern Cape Donor Services Manager for SANBS, and that's Jonas Leferela. Jonas, thank you for joining us. This is a rather interesting conundrum we find ourselves in.
Yes, thanks, Darren. Thanks so much, and thanks for the opportunity.
Can you tell us why ethnicity needs to be specified? This is a question which a few people have asked. Why ethnicity needs to be specified when it comes to the donating of blood in South Africa? Thanks
so much, Darren. I think maybe it's also fair to just first mention that, remember, whether ethnicity or not, the blood is red. Blood is the same. So whether it's from a black person, it's from a white person, it's the same.
That is very much my reason for asking. We're all human beings. Why are we specifying the ethnicity?
You'll remember that in South Africa, because as SANBS, we subject to the South African laws. So in South Africa, the race has been used maybe after 1994 in terms of looking at the progress that we make in terms of getting the previously disadvantaged people into the organizations or the things that they could not do before. So what we do ourselves is just to see how many of those people who were not given an opportunity, for example, to donate blood previously, how are we getting them into our system? So it's just purely for research purposes, purely just to ensure that we are doing what we are supposed to do as the organization and get more people into our organization.
So if I read you correctly, you're saying it's really for statistical purposes to make sure that the process is including all ethnicities in South Africa. Would that be right?
Correct. In terms of the previous engagement, I'm afraid, Darren, because I'm not aware. I've checked with my superiors as well. They are not aware of the previous engagement. But I'm the person who first engaged with Mr. Martin a few weeks back when he called me. We arranged for a sitting which happened on the 13th of January. That was my first encounter with him and the matter brought to our attention. So yes, at the moment, our donor form only has 4 blocks, which is the ones that are common in South Africa. It has 4 blocks in terms of a race where we talk about Asians, we talk about coloreds, we talk about blacks and white. And like I said, like you rightfully said, Darren, just for statistical purposes.
Now, Mr. Martin says that up until now, he finds he's been classified as white when it comes to your ethnicity, which is rather ironic.
Yes, I'll not be sure of that because he has not brought that to my attention, which is something that we can investigate and look into. Because it could have been meant that when he ticked the box previously, he ticked a white, and then therefore whoever was doing the capturing then will have captured based on what Mr. Martin will have ticked on our ethnic groups. Like I said, we have African, we have coloreds, we have Indian or Asians, and then we have white. So if somebody ticks white, and remember, by the time we do capturing, it's after the donor has gone. So you might not necessarily be able to see who's actually this donor, and then can we engage the donor, but we capture what has been put on the form.
Okay, so an error has crept in somewhere, but it's not a big deal, I don't think. I think of more importance is the fact that you and Mr. Martin have spoken, and by all accounts, it's been an amicable meeting. How are you going to proceed going forward?
Going forward, Darren, I think it is important, like I said, that we are an organization that is guided by the rules of the country. And once there are changes maybe in the rules of the country, we will be able as well to look at our donor firm. And we are very flexible. Like I said, we are guided by the rules of the country. So we will be able to, and maybe more interestingly, if you look at things of the Stats SA, like Martin has said, they've engaged Stats SA. Stats SA, according to Mr. Martin, they will be looking into declassifying people and including the Khoi and Sans. And I think we will follow suit as well as the organization.
Any idea how long it'll take to effect this?
Like I'm saying, we are guided by the rules of the land. If that's for example, comes through tomorrow, there's no reason why SANBS will still have classified people as it has classified them now.
I understand. And if there is no ruling from national government, then things will stay as they are.
Look, like I've said previously, Darren, that we have referred the matter to our seniors, like the executives. So they are also looking at the matter to say, can it be changed? Can it be classified otherwise? Because you'll remember that although we have a number of people, boxes, like I said, 4 boxes that are here, we'll still need to say, do we need to change anything? Can we look at reclassifying this in a different way? And I think it is important that we will engage Mr. Martins, like we said in our previous meeting, that once we get the feedback from our seniors, we'll still engage them to say, how do we move forward? Because what is important, Darren, is that we move forward together with them.
We appreciate your comments. Thanks for joining us on Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann today. That's the Eastern Cape Donor Services Manager for the South African National Blood Services, Mr. Jonas Leferela. Jonas, have a great day. Thank you very much. Catching up with the man at the centre of this minor controversy now, Khoi and San activist Christian Martin. Christian, you've been a blood donor since 1987, you say. And you're a little upset that the South African National Blood Services donor forms do not make provision for Khoi and San people, despite you previously having requested them to make such provision. Good morning.
Good morning, Darren. Yes, Darren, your facts is right on that one. The challenge that I have is, Darren, is that I'm not asking for any ethnicity on a form. It's already there. All that I'm asking is that they must actually provide a space for other ethnicities also to come on this form. So that's all that I'm asking, because on the form there is Indian, African, white, colored, which I'm definitely not. So for me, it's just to rectify that one. I don't have a problem with the column for colored people, because there are people that associate and identify themselves with such. So I just need the same, that others, administrative justice that others do get. I also want the same for the Khoi and San people.
You've been quoted in the newspapers as saying all blood matters, and I think anyone would agree with you on that. So you're not necessarily requesting a Khoi and San ethnicity-specific block to be included. You're just saying if other ethnicities are acknowledged, yours should be as well. Would you be in favour of ethnicity being removed entirely?
I don't have a problem what they do, Darren. If they remove it, mine is just, as I say, all blood matters. And remember, the objective of this donating blood is for lives. It was never about ethnicity or anything else. All that I'm doing is to request for administrative justice to happen, to say that whilst you're at it, just put this one on. You know, it's we as the Khoi and San don't say we won't and making threats if you don't. You understand? No, this is not for us that way. We are well aware that the blood saves lives. You understand? And tomorrow it can be our family members and even yourself whose life must be saved. So this is administrative request. So it's nothing to do with the processes within the blood bank and threats that we are making. We are making no threats. I will go every month when I receive my SMS or my email. I will go there religiously to give blood, God willing.
Christian, now you've been donating since 1987, as we mentioned earlier. An interesting, ironic little point is the fact that you've been apparently designated white ethnicity up until now.
Yeah, you know what happens is, Daron, is that is what I also found on the form. So the important part here, again, Daron, this is not about being classified as white or whatever and making a hula baha about white and any color for that matter. It's all about correcting an administrative mistake that has been made. You understand?
Absolutely.
So any institution can make an administrative mistake, and tomorrow Daron can be a Khoi, and so forth. And then you'll just ask it, no guys, I'm not a Khoi. I won't claim Khoiness if I'm not. So just rectify that. And that's all what it is.
Now, Christian, you've managed to have a meeting with the South African National Blood Service. By all accounts, the meeting went well. What was the outcome?
What they're going to do is they're going to send all information and the meeting's content to the national officers, and they actually committed themselves by the end of the month. We may have a follow-up just to discuss how far this whole matter have gone. So for us, from our side, we're very happy with that. It was very open meeting towards each other, and they actually highly appreciated the fact that this was not a meeting to accuse or to threaten and those type of things. It was just a pure meeting to say administratively, you have a page in front of us, a form that must be filled in, and some of your information on your form is not right. And what was the meeting about?
Well, it seems as if all's well that ends well, and I do hope it ends well. We appreciate you joining us today. Christian Martin, Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann. It's been a pleasure having you on board.
That was today's edition of Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann.